Good evening. This is Tom Alexander. It is Monday, December 12th. It is about 7:53 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is going to be a quick update. I sent out a weekend report and I did a video, which you may have seen. And I wanted to update some of the information in that video. Now, one thing that I was pretty unequivocal about is that I felt like the market would be down hard this week. Today has changed that to a degree. Now, I did say in the report also, and it's fine to have an opinion, it's fine to have a forecast, but when you make a forecast or you have an opinion, especially if you actually trade, you have to know what invalidates that, and you have to be willing to switch. Well, we didn't quite invalidate it today, but we came close. Now, I'm going to show my charts. And basically, Friday's close was quite bearish. Today's close was retraced more than Friday's entire range in 3 of the 4 primary U.S. trading indices. The one that did not is the NDX, and the NDX, as you can see, closed right on its high. So that sort of flipped the switch. I was looking for follow through to the downside, didn't get it. Now, last week's lows are now critically important. If all 4 of the indices by the end of the week close below last week's lows, that's bearish. That's a sell signal. If all 4 of the U.S. primary indices close below last week's lows. Now, in the case of the Russell, that would be today's lows, which is just barely below Friday's low. But let's take a look at each one of them. I'm going to start with the Dow because the Dow has been the one that has showed the most relative strength off of this October low. And I want to show you where I got the 483 thing from, okay? All right. The Russell. I'm going to start with Russell. Let's backtrack because that's where I came up with the 483%. So for the Russell to trade just back to, not even through the November highs, that would be almost a 5% rally, a 4.83% rally. Now let's look at the Dow. So if the Dow were to rally 4.83%, you could still have the Russell below the November lows and the Dow not far from its all-time high. Actually, from tonight's close in the cash Dow, you're looking at something right around 9%, a little less than 9% to a new all-time high, okay? Now let's look at the SPX. So the SPX, the S&P 500 is less than 3% from a new rally high off of this November low. And then the NDX is about 3.5% to a new rally high. So once again, yeah, we're rallying, and we could rally quite strongly. We could even rally for, primarily, mostly rally into Christmas or after Christmas, and it's possible that the Russell wouldn't trade to a new all-time high. So we still have these lingering divergences in play here. There are a number of scenarios. I try to keep my analysis simple because I actually trade, and you can't trade complicated things. You have to trade price action. So the price action today is the most definitive fly in the ointment of my bearish outlook coming into today, as outlined in the weekend report. And so I have to rethink things. So at this point, I will head into tomorrow. The CPI comes out at 8:30. Who knows what it will do, but most definitely Powell and his press conference that begin all the fireworks, the Fed fireworks begin at 2:00 when they will announce their rate hike, and then Powell will speak and give guidance. And it's that speaking and guidance that I think the market will react to and will eventually, finally tell the tale, probably from at least now into Christmas. the signal that things are going to be bearish into Christmas is if all four of the primary U.S. indices trade and close below last week's session lows. The exception would be the Russell. Russell has to close below today's low, which is not far from Friday's low, which was its weekly low. Now, another thing that I want you to take a look at that's somewhat head scratching is VIX has been rising. We had a rather robust update today, and guess what? VIX spiked higher. VIX closed at 25. You typically don't see a rising VIX with a rising market. And this is not something that we will continue to see for long. If the market is indeed bullish, if the market is going to react bullishly to the CPI and Powell on Wednesday afternoon, you're going to see the VIX, in the case of a bullish resolution, decline sharply and get below 20, or you're going to see VIX spike very sharply and probably reach 30 again. So as usual, price action rules. I was just a bit concerned about my forecast for a hard bearish down this week in the light of today's action. And trading is an ongoing process. You have, when you get new information, you have to reassess. You don't ever want to get stuck on stupid with your analysis or your trading. You guys have a great evening, and I'll update this later this week.